Thinking about buying a used truck? Well, hold on, because some of them will cost you more in repairs than the price you paid. In this video, I'm breaking down the 10 worst used trucks you should never waste your money on, including one with a transmission failure rate so high, it's practically a ticking time bomb. Let's get into it. Buying a used truck can be a great way to save money, unless you end up with one of these money pits. I've done the research, looked at mechanic reports, recalled data, and real owner complaints, so you don't have to. Stay with me till the end, because I'm also revealing one truck that looks reliable, but has a secret engine failure issue. Criteria for a bad truck. All right, before we start calling out these trucks, let's get one thing straight. What actually makes a truck bad? Because not every truck with a few scratches or a busted taillight is a disaster. We're talking about real deal breakers here. So how do we decide if a truck is one you should never buy? Well, it usually comes down to 4 major red flags. 1. Reliability issues. It's always in the shop. A truck is supposed to be tough, right? But if it spends more time at the mechanic than on the road, that's a serious problem. Some trucks are just built with bad engineering. 2. Expensive repairs. The money pit. Some trucks aren't just unreliable. They're stupidly expensive to fix. Whether it's a poorly designed engine that requires half the truck to be taken apart just to change a spark plug, or a transmission that costs more than a used car to replace, these are the money pits you want to avoid. 3. Poor fuel efficiency. Drinks gas like a thirsty elephant. Trucks aren't exactly known for being fuel efficient, but some models take it to an entirely new level of awful. With gas prices going up, having a truck that barely gets 10 miles per gallon, that's a problem, especially if you use it as a daily driver. 4. Safety issues. It's a rolling death trap. A truck should be strong, safe, and built to protect you in an accident. But some models, they have such poor safety ratings, you might as well be driving with a giant good luck sign on the back. Bad crash test scores, weak frame structures, and faulty airbags are just some of the safety concerns that make certain trucks an absolute no-go. Now that we know what makes a truck truly bad, it's time to get into the real list. Some of these might surprise you, and others? Well, let's just say if you see one for sale, run the other way. Some of these trucks might be shockers, and if you've owned one, you know exactly why they made this list. So let's count them down, starting with number 10. Number 10, 2015 to 2017, Ram 1500 EcoDiesel. Great on paper, a nightmare in reality. At first glance, the 2015 to 2017 Ram 1500 EcoDiesel seems like a solid truck. It's got a diesel engine, promising better fuel economy than its gas-powered rivals. And it even boasts a comfortable ride. But here's the problem. That engine is a ticking time bomb. Why it's on the list? The 3.0-liter EcoDiesel engine is notorious for serious engine failures due to faulty EGR coolers and oil pump issues. Massive recall due to excessive emissions violations. Yes, similar to Volkswagen's Dieselgate scandal. Common complaints of overheating, oil sludge buildup, and even catastrophic engine failure under 100,000 miles. Imagine buying a truck thinking you'll get 500 miles per tank, only to find out that by 80,000 miles, your engine's burning oil like crazy and running hotter than a summer in Arizona. That's exactly what happened to thousands of Ram 1500 EcoDiesel owners. And the worst part? A lot of them never saw it coming until it was too late. If you see one of these on the market, think twice, unless you want to roll the dice on an expensive engine failure. 9. 2007 to 2014, Chevrolet Silverado 1500 5.3-liter Vortec engine. The engine that just won't stop burning oil. The Chevy Silverado 1500 is a household name. But if you're looking at a 2007 to 2014 model with a 5.3-liter Vortec engine, run the other way. These trucks were built during GM's Let's Cut Corners era. And the results? Not great. Why it's on the list? Losing up to a quart of oil every 1,000 miles. Lifters and camshafts wear out prematurely, leading to expensive engine rebuilds. Transmission issues including hard shifting and total transmission failure before 120,000 miles. You'd think a truck that's been around this long would be reliable, right? Well, tell that to the Silverado owners constantly topping off their oil because their engine's burning through it faster than a deep-fried snack at a state fair. And if you ignore it, you're looking at complete engine failure. Unless you want to play mechanic every weekend, skip this one. 8. 2016 to 2018 Toyota Tacoma 3.5-liter V6. A rare misstep from Toyota. Toyota trucks are known for being bulletproof, but even Toyota makes mistakes. The 2016 to 2018 Tacoma with a 3.5-liter V6 is one of them. While these trucks hold their value insanely well, they come with some serious mechanical flaws. Why it's on the list: the 3.5-liter V6 engine is underpowered and struggles with gear hunting, making it feel sluggish. Horrible transmission tuning, delayed shifting, rough gear changes, and an overall clunky driving experience. Frame rust issues continue to plague these models, leading to potential structural failures. Toyota trucks usually last forever, but this Tacoma, let's just say it's not one of their finest moments. If you love driving a truck that constantly hesitates to shift gears and leaves you wondering if it's actually got 6 cylinders under the hood, go ahead. Otherwise, you might want to look elsewhere. If you want a Tacoma, look for an older 4.0-liter 5.6 model instead. 7. 2006 to 2012 Ford F-150 5.4-liter Triton V8, a legendary truck with a legendary headache. The Ford F-150 is America's best-selling truck. But if you're looking at a 2006 to 2012 model with the 5.4-liter Triton V8, watch out. This engine has been one of the biggest repair nightmares in truck history. Why it's on the list? The spark plugs are a nightmare to change. They tend to break off inside the engine, costing over $1,000 to fix. Cam phaser issues lead to loud knocking noises and eventual engine failure. Timing chain problems result in costly repairs that can exceed $3,500. Mechanics hate working on the 5.4-liter Triton, and for good reason. Changing spark plugs should be a simple job, but in this engine, it's an expensive disaster. One wrong move, and you're looking at an engine teardown just to get those little suckers out. And that's before we even get into the timing chain issues. If you're shopping for an older F-150, skip the Triton V8 and look for a 5.0-liter Coyote instead. 6. 2004 to 2008 Nissan Titan, a truck that rusts faster than it drives. The first-gen Nissan Titan had potential, but early models were plagued with reliability issues and, worst of all, rust problems that could render them unsafe. Why it's on the list: rear axle failures are common, often requiring full replacement before 100,000 miles. Transmission cooling system issues lead to premature failure. Severe rust problems, especially in the frame and undercarriage, making them unsafe. Owning a truck means dealing with wear and tear, but the 2004 to 2008 Nissan Titan takes it to a whole new level. Rear axles randomly failing? Check. Transmission problems? Check. A rust problem so bad that parts of the frame might literally disintegrate. The later Titan models are much better, but if you're looking at an early one, run. 5. 2019 to 2021 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 and GMC Sierra 1500 looks modern, drives like a headache. The redesigned 2019 Silverado and Sierra had all the makings of a great truck, except for the part where they actually work reliably. Why it's on the list: the 5.3-liter and 6.2-liter engines suffer from lifter failure, leading to major engine problems. The 8-speed automatic transmission is notorious for harsh shifting, jerking, and failure. Poor interior build quality, rattles, cheap materials, and early wear issues. Chevy wanted to shake things up with the 2019 redesign, and they sure did, just not in a good way. Imagine buying a brand new truck, only for the transmission to feel like it's shifting with a sledgehammer. That's the reality for a lot of owners. If you want a Silverado, go for an older 2016 to 2018 model with a 6-speed transmission. 4. 2003 to 2007 Dodge Ram 2500 and 3500, 5.9 liters and 6.7-liter Cummins. When reliability meets self-destruction. Yes, the Cummins diesel is legendary, but these particular model years had some major Achilles heels. Why it's on the list: transmission failures are extremely common, especially in trucks that towed frequently. The 6.7-liter Cummins is prone to EGR and turbocharger failures. Front-end suspension and steering issues lead to the infamous death wobble. Diesel truck fans swear by the Cummins engine, but here's the problem: it's only as good as the rest of the truck. And in the early 2000s, Dodge decided to build the rest of the truck out of glass. You'll get power, but you'll also get nonstop repair bills. If you need a Cummins, go for a later model with a reinforced transmission. 2010 to 2014, Ford F-250 and F-356.7-liter Power-Stroke diesel, the engine that tries to destroy itself. The early 6.7-liter Power-Stroke diesel was Ford's first in-house diesel engine, but they had to learn some hard lessons along the way. Why it's on the list: the CP4 high-pressure fuel pump fails catastrophically, destroying the entire fuel system. Turbocharger failures are common and expensive to fix. Emissions-related problems, including clogged EGR coolers and DEF system malfunctions. You buy a diesel truck expecting it to be a workhorse, not a ticking time bomb. But the early 6.7-liter Power-Stroke? It's a mechanic's dream and an owner's nightmare, with repair costs that can total more than the truck's worth. The post-2015 models are much better. Avoid the early ones. 2007 to 2012, Chevrolet Colorado and GMC Canyon. When compact also means completely unreliable. GM's first attempt at a modern mid-sized truck fell short in nearly every way possible. Why it's on the list: the 5-cylinder engine, yes, 5 cylinders, is underpowered and prone to timing chain failures. Cheap interior materials wear out quickly. Transmission problems, including slipping and early failure. GM thought they could shake up the mid-sized truck market with a weird 5-cylinder engine. Turns out they just made a truck that was underpowered, unreliable, and expensive to fix. Not exactly a winning combination. If you need a mid-sized truck, look at a Toyota Tacoma or Ford Ranger instead. Number 1, 2008 to 2010, Ford F-250 and F-356.4-liter Power-Stroke diesel. The most expensive mistake Ford ever made. The 6.4-liter Power-Stroke is widely regarded as one of the worst diesel engines ever put in a truck. Why it's on the list: high-pressure fuel pump failures can destroy the entire fuel system. Excessive soot buildup in the EGR system leads to overheating and major failures. Blown head gaskets and cracked radiators are incredibly common. The 6.4-liter Power-Stroke was supposed to be Ford's answer to diesel truck problems. Instead, it became the problem. This truck eats money like a slot machine, except the only jackpot is a blown engine. Never buy a 6.4-liter Power-Stroke, ever. If you're in the market for a used truck, these are the models you'll want to avoid unless you're prepared for endless repairs and frustration. While some trucks have bad model years, others are just fundamentally flawed from the start. Looking for a reliable truck? Stick with tried and true options like the Toyota Tundra, Ford F-150 with the 5.0-liter Coyote, or pre-2019 Chevrolet Silverados with the 6-speed transmission.